Welcome back, guys, to Phoenix Wright, Trials and Tribulations, as we're at least casting doubt on the identity of the mask who did the heist. With the brooch being taken off, is it really him? Is it not? We don't know where this will lead, but Godot at the moment, with all his coffee, says, "It'll really be shaken up, isn't it, little lady?" That friend of yours left pretty little hickeys on there too. Hickeys? Figuratively speaking, of course. I'm referring to Ron Delight's fingerprints. What? What? The defendant's fingerprints are on the brooch? Ah. Order in the court! Mr. Godot, let's see that brooch. I've grown attached to my metallic girlfriend here. Take good care of her. It appears to have been torn off some clothing. There's a little bit of cloth left on the back. Obviously, there must have been a big struggle that night at the crime scene. Uh-oh. Phoenix, we have a problem. Right, so it's been ripped off, there was a struggle. That's where we're leading currently? Okay. But we've just brought Ron Delight straight into it. Ha! You mess with Godot. You get burned. He's been playing me like a violin. Well, Judge, I'm about ready to call my next witness. Huh? You done with me? But I haven't proved anything yet. You've proven your own incompetence. That's good enough. That doesn't sound good at all. Bailiff, bring the next witness into the courtroom. Finally, time for the ace detective to make his appearance, huh? One second is one drip of the coffee pot. Let's hurry it up. Shh! Silence! Hehehehe! Now I see. It's all becoming clear. What's clear? Svari! The truth has once again been elegantly revealed to me. What we have here is a judge and a prosecutor. A coffee maniac at that. Am I correct? Well, yes, that's right. Ha! Not bad. Not bad at all. What? State the obvious, man. You're the first person that's ever been able to penetrate my secret veil. Is he being serious? Well, Sir Prosecutor, let me introduce myself. My name is Luke Atmey, ace detective and rising star illuminating the heavens. Boy, those two make a perfect pair. They'd either be best friends or they tear each other's heads off. I've heard that on the night of the crime you were all alone on security detail. You have heard correctly. My specially made monocle is worth more than 100 Detective Gumshoes. If Detective Gumshoe is worth anything, that is. Why was this guy all by himself anyway? There must be some reason. I'm sure of it. Well then, tell us what this special monocle of yours witnessed. Well, what did the witness indeed? It was approximately 1 o'clock in the morning, just after the date changed. That's when my nemesis, the infamous Mask dancingly descended upon me. Just as I began to turn, the coward struck a fierce blow upon my noble head. Darkness swallowed me before I could land a single strike. When I awoke, he was gone. 30 minutes later, I used an emergency phone to notify the police. So you didn't get a clear look at the criminal? More to the point, there's a contradiction already. My specially made monocle never misses a thing. However, that is limited to things that fall within my own visual range. But of course, that's only natural. I fail to see why the witness seemed so proud of his performance that evening. Well, Sir Old-Timer, let me explain. We are not speaking of any ordinary thief, but of the King of Thieves, the great Mask, my arch-enemy. That is what my instincts and my years of experience tell me. Very well. Proceed with the cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Do we have to? He's a nutter. That's my cross-examination. It was approximately 1 o'clock in the morning, just after the date changed. Yes, was it now? Well, I know this to be a fact, because that's when the, That's a bad phone noise. Phone? Camera. That's the one. Went off. That's when my nemesis, the infamous Master Mask, dancingly descended upon me. He knows that for certain, does he? Just as I began to turn, the coward struck a fierce blow upon my noble head. Darkness swallowed me before I could land a single strike. When I awoke, he was gone. This is the one that inflames me. My ardor. Looks like it was torn off some clothing. Like there was a struggle. The Godot said not 2 seconds ago. Do I press or present?
Hold it!
Because I think we've got right to the heart of the matter here. Attacked and knocked unconscious, and you weren't able to do a thing? That's certainly some very impressive detective work. Well, Sir Lawyer, have you ever been suddenly struck on the head? Many times. Huh? Well, actually, yes, by a fire extinguisher. What happened? I was knocked out. And you lost your memory too. You see? You have no right to look down on me then, do you? I was asleep when it happened, wasn't I? The only reason I didn't lose my memory was because I had more brains to begin with. He may have brains, but the wiring to the self-reflection part seems to be severed. In any case, that was how I was knocked senseless. And then... I think we're presenting the badge to that, to be honest. He woke up in half an hour. It's good for him and all. But we know there was a struggle. There was more than that.
Objection!
Mr. Atmey, could you take a look at this with that special monocle of yours? Aha! This belongs to the criminal mastermind, my arch-nemesis, Master Mask! It is, in point of fact, Master Mask's brooch. It was found on the floor of the basement warehouse. I wonder how that happened. Ha! Elementary, my dear lawyer. Obviously, it wasn't glued on well enough. Not quite. It clearly shows signs of having been ripped off a piece of clothing. Ripped off? Ha-ha! We can only deduce that the thief struggled with someone that night. That's the only thing I can think of. And there's only one person that was in a position to have a struggle with a thief. The only person that was on security duty that night. You, Detective Atmey! Ugh. Detective Atmey, you must have fought with a thief that night. So why did you lie in your testimony to the court? Witness, giving false testimony is a serious crime. No. Wait just a moment, Sir Oldtimer. Don't talk to me like I'm living in a nursing home. I just remembered, Your Honor. I was just confused because I've been dealing with so many cases lately. The true measure of a man is in the amount of work he does. That's what I always say. Nick, you can only handle one case at a time, isn't that right? You talk too much. Witness, so are you now saying that you and the thief fought? Hold on, that's quite enough, Your Honor. Excuse me? Save the big questions for the testimony. That's one of my rules. Indeed, I understand. I, Luke Atmey, agree completely. So straight back to testimony as another cup of coffee is imbibed. Indeed, it's true that I looked away from the door for a brief moment. However, Luke Atmey cannot be so easily discombobulated. Unfortunately, the thief grabbed a weapon from the side and rendered me senseless. He'd have walked past you if you... What? How did he get to that and then back again? A true gentleman fights only with his own fists, but they were not enough. His first blow struck true, bam! And that's all she wrote. To be honest, the first bits we're probably not going to be too interested in. It's more the bits involving the fight. So in the end, you did catch a glimpse of Master Mask? Correct. It was during his third crime that he struck me from behind. It seems that my memory has become a tad jumbled, so to speak. Well, that's certainly understandable. I myself always get confused about which testimony goes with which case. That can't be good. Somehow he always gets it right, says Mr. Hemorrhoids. Indeed, it's true that I looked away from the door for a brief moment. Let's press all of these. So why did you look away from the door anyway? In addition to the camera, I had prepared a variety of other sensors as well. The alarm on one of those had gone off, so I had to check the data. That's why I went to the computer. Elegantly, of course. So you were momentarily vulnerable when you were working on the computer? What should I do? Should I ask some more questions? About the sensor, surely. What kind of sensors are you talking about? There are other places in the basement that someone could enter and exit from. There are air conditioning ducts, sewer pipes, and a cat door as well. No. I hooked up heat detecting infrared and ultraviolet sensors to each of them. That's a lot of hardware. Was it all yours? Lordly Taylor Department Store was kind enough to provide the monitoring hardware. Naturally, the security camera that took the photo belongs to them as well. In other words, he couldn't have rigged the equipment, huh? Yeah! Has it cleared any doubts you had about me, Sir Lawyer? I have all the doubts. However, Luke Atmey cannot be so easily discombobulated. You were very easily discombobulated. What does that mean? Discombobulated? Young people these days, they really irritate me. What? They allow perfectly good old words to die until everyone forgets what they mean, or completely corrupt them, and turn them into something else. Sorry, but what exactly does it mean anyway? Now I've forgotten. What was I saying? Jeez, it's better than old people who forget what they were saying 5 seconds ago. Well, it looks like we've cleared that up. You can go on with your testimony. No, we didn't! Everyone's short-term memory lapse. Unfortunately, the thief grabbed a weapon from the side and rendered me senseless. What do you mean by weapon from the side? Naturally, that thief had no idea that I, Luke Atmey, was hiding in the area. He grabbed the sword from the statue that was standing by the door to the warehouse. Sword? You mean the sword that was all twisted like a tree branch? Correct. Fortunately for me, the blade was not sharp. Okay, so he is talking about the Shichishito. So the thief armed himself with a sword. Now what about yourself, witness? A true gentleman fights only with his own fists, but they were not enough. You had that much faith in your own fighting abilities? But of course, in college I was the second in charge of the boxing club. I'm sorry if I failed to find that appropriately impressive. However, my opponent in the ring this time was my arch nemesis, Mask the Mask. This guy's a real piece of work. His first blow struck true, bam! And that's all she wrote. Can you tell us a little more about what happened? My opponent was both powerful and vicious. You might say he was powericious? Powericious? I assumed the Atmey fighting stance, but a sudden flash of light blinded me. That, of course, was checkmate. My opponent had bested me. What do I do now? Should I ask more about this? About the Atmey fighting style? Or you were blinded? These are both interesting questions. What is this Atmey fighting style? I'm sorry, but that's a trade secret. I really can't say any more. But I suppose I can tell you if I absolutely must. Well, yes, it's court of law. The main thing is to put your back to the wall. That way no one can get behind you. That's it? That's the Atmey fighting style? Well, Mr. Wright, what about that testimony? I probably was very important based on an angle of a bend. Of course it's important. We've learned a detective's secret technique after all. Yes, indeed. I'll remember to use it if I ever take a walk alone late at night. Why the heck is he eyeballing me like that? It's creeping me out. Now then, witness, we'll go ahead and add that secret information to your official testimony. Oh, so it is an important point. Good. Good. I put my back to the wall to fight, but the thief's blow landed upon my third eye. Your brain, you mean? Blow to the back of the head. Contradiction in a statement. But what I was actually looking at more is the fact that if it were to land on you enough to kind of knock you senseless and bend a little bit, if it was to hit the wall, which you would have to hit if you had your back to the wall from the front, then that bend would be a bit more snappy or pronounced maybe. Or maybe even not do too much damage because of how long it is. I don't know how close the person was, how far away. It must have been close to rip off the emblem. Think about it. That's my word of looking at it. Objection! But this has got to be right. Detective Atmey, your testimony is crumbling like a house of cards. What fun this is, Sir Lawyer. It is truly a pleasure to cross swords with you. And now, once again, you have thrown down the gauntlet at my armoured feet. I believe this is what you said yesterday. No, the coward must have wormed his way in through somewhere besides the door. Then my arch nemesis struck me on the head from behind with the gruesome item here. From behind, huh? But just now you testified that he struck you on the forehead. I hardly think you could forget where you were hit on the head. Look, it seems I've made another mistake. Detective Atmey, that's not the only strange part of your testimony. Oh, what do you mean by that? For example, the very fact that you hid the calling card from the police itself is strange. It's almost as if you were afraid they were going to help with security. Geniuses such as myself have always been misunderstood. How sad. That's wrong.
Objection.
To err is human. To forgive, divine. Humans aren't machines. They have souls, feelings. They live, they die, they love, they hate. And yes, they even make mistakes.
Objection.
Hey, hold on. It's not as pretty as that. Really? What is it like then? Always chase a riddle down to the end. That's one of my rules. This is it. This might just be my chance to turn things around. Mr. Wright, what exactly is it that you're asserting? Very well, Your Honor. The defense asserts that Mr. Atmey is no ace detective, true. This Mr. Atmey is a fake. To be honest, he's too weird to be real. Mr. Atmey is masked to mask. What we're saying is because the fact that the card was left behind and then no one was reporting it, so there wasn't any other security there, it was just him, then maybe he is in costume. The answer is simple. It's all clear to me now. Detective Luke Atmey's true identity is actually masked to mask. Yeah! Order in the court! Mr. Wright, what is the meaning of this? There are too many unnatural parts to Mr. Atmey's story. He says he was hiding at the crime scenes, which is why no one ever saw him there. And then, in his last case, he managed to outperform Detective Gumshoe and the entire police force to miraculously retrieve the stolen treasure. Pressure? That's wrong. That's because I analysed the crime scene data and made an exquisitely elegant deduction. I picked up clues that the police overlooked in order to arrive at a... Oh, please. The explanation is far simpler than that, Detective Atmey. The truth is that you are, in fact, masked to mask. Yuck! Pardon, Mr. Wright. This photo, it clearly shows mask to mask. This security camera belongs to Lordly Taylor Department Store. He shouldn't have been able to manipulate it. He didn't need to manipulate it. He gained access to the warehouse under the pretense of providing security. Then he simply dressed up as the thief and stole the urn. So, the ace detective is actually an ace thief. Is this true, witness? Aha. The masked MO is pure genius, and so am I, Luke Atmey, ace detective. You're very clever to have come to such a conclusion. I'm impressed, sir lawyer. What? Witness, you're admitting it? Nick, now's your chance. Yes, time to put the last nail in this guy's coffin. Detective Atmey, when you assume the thief's identity... What? That's some very sticky coffee. What? Godot Blend 102. My personal favorite. What's for its adhesive properties? Mr. Godot, is it like a coffee shampoo? The ace detective is actually an ace thief. I smell a best-selling novel. There's only one problem. It simply isn't true. But Mr. Godot, Mr. Wright has made some very strong points, and I will admit my opponent has woven a compelling narrative out of whole cloth. But it is, in fact, nothing more than a patchwork quilt, Mr. Trite. If this detective really is the thief, then show us the proof of your claim. But it had better be as hot and as perfect as the coffee dripping down your face. Well, Mr. Wright, don't just stand there. This court would like to see this decisive proof you have, quickly! Huh? Oh, yes, of course. What's the big rush? Are you alright, Nick? Atmey looks pretty rattled right now. I'd like to finish this right now if I can. But can I really do it? Decisive evidence that proves Mr. Luke Atmey is in fact Master Mask has yet to be found. I'd have to say. Proof? Of course I've got nothing. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have answered that one, but it's not like we actually have any concrete evidence yet. We need to do some examination. Can we go back out and investigate? Pretty please. As we continue on next time with Phoenix Wright, Trials and Tribulations, coffee in my hair. It's time for Phoenix to clean himself up. Just to get probably coffeeed again, I bet. I'll see you next time for more. Bye-bye.